What's up, people? I am back for another video. Today, I'm here to talk about the Fall Guy, Nice Guys. Sorry, Fall Guy. Jesus, the Nice Guys. I remember watching this movie a couple years ago. I remember watching it a little bit after it came out because a friend of mine told me this movie is really good. Sorry if you're hearing noises. Fucking bird won't shut the fuck up. So, but anyway, I really enjoyed it being because it was set in the 70s. It focuses on a private eye, which is Gosling and Enforcer for Hire, Russell Crowe's character. They investigate a disappearance, and they basically it's very almost, they're not cops, but it's kind of Lethal Weapon, like in the sense, like, it's a buddy cop. I love that it's set in the 1977, and I think they do a really good job of making you feel like you're in the 70s. And both are just fun characters. Um, and then obviously, eventually, the scene where they go to the anti-pollution fucking rally was hilarious, and they're talking to it. Also is like mocking protesters in a way. It's like, you're dead. Like, just the banter between Gosling and Crowe was perfect, and the comedic timing, everything about this movie. This is probably like, this and Fall Guy are like tied for probably Ryan Gosling's best performance. I love him in this movie. Like, I think he is great as Holland March, and just his like chemistry with Keith David's in it as one of the villains. The main villain's pretty good. And what sucks is that it didn't get a sequel. It didn't do well. I think, if I remember right at the time, it came out like a week after MCU's Civil War, as I call it, Civil Play Fight. But that movie was like, it just, unfortunately, it came out after that, and just everyone wanted to see at that time, wanted to see Civil War. I guess this movie just kind of got forgotten about. And it sucks, because it's a really good film. The shootout scene was great. They go to the Playboy, I think it's the Playboy Mansion, or they go to like a party, which, yeah, like, and even the Amelia character, who is kind of unlikable, even though her death's pretty kind of sad. Like, and it's just an all-around good film. It's very simple. Like, it's gonna be one of those movies again, guys. I'm gonna try to find a movie where I actually can analyze. It's just, I like movies like this that are just straightforward. It's more about the banter between March and Keeley. Like, that's kind of it, really. That's what this film's about. And I love the soundtrack. A lot of fun 70s songs. Like, it really helps with the immersion. Like, you feel like you're in the 70s. It doesn't just feel like, oh, like, it's window dressing. Like, oh, this is just a 2016 movie that just is set in the 70s. They actually put the work into it. Keith David is one of the villains. Ed Harris he's one of the villains. And they end up getting the film. They secure the film towards the end, and obviously, basically create an agency called the Nice Guys, which sets up as they probably wanted to do a sequel, and I would have loved it, because who knows, maybe in the sequel they could have went in like 79 to 80, go into the 80s, maybe even jump ahead like maybe a couple of years and it's in the 80s. I think that could have been cool, but overall, it's unfortunate this movie didn't do great, but it is what it is. It's still a great film, and I'm happy it's getting a lot more appreciation these days. I just wish it did well, but I think it's a matter of when they released it. They released it right after Civil War, and I think people just wanted to see that movie. So, but overall, awesome movie. If I were to give this movie a rating, 9.5. I love this movie. Even the Marge's daughter is a good character, and her friend. Granted, the bad guy like yeets the daughter's friend through a window. Like, he had no problem eating a little girl. But like, yeah, the kid actors are pretty funny. Like, they genuinely felt like also you could buy the girl that was March's daughter actually being his daughter. It works. It didn't just feel like, oh, it's just his daughter because the script said so. You know? So yeah, guys, this is an awesome film. Today I'm gonna watch Kingdom of the not that one. Today I'm gonna watch Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I'm gonna try to review it tonight. If I don't do it tonight, I'll definitely review it tomorrow. But I'm definitely gonna watch it today. I just don't know if I'm gonna review it tonight or not. But yeah. So if I don't do it tonight, it'll be tomorrow. I'll figure out what I'll do. I'm gonna try to find a Screen Rant article because it's been 2 months. I do want to do a Screen Rant as gay, so I'll try to find something. I'll look for something tomorrow or tonight, and we'll see what comes up. But yeah, let's get into. And I'll announce this: I'm not seeing the new Strangers, especially now that I've seen reviews. A lot of people said it's basically trash. So yeah, so I'm not gonna. I might review the original Strangers though at some point soon. Anyways, let's get into the Nice Guys. Movie starts off, and I love it how each of them doing their jobs. You know, March is a private eye looking for Amelia, or porn star. Misty Mountains in an investigation. They're like kind of each doing their own thing. You see Healy doing his job as a. He usually gets because there's his introduction. He goes to knocks at a dude's door and then bam, like knocks him out, and then gets paid. Like he basically just gets paid to beat up people. He's an enforcer basically. Kind of like if you remember Deadpool, like that he intimidated the pizza delivery guy. It's kind of the same thing there. It's like that. So then his investigation leads to Amelia. Amelia then pays Healy, who I think, dude, Russell. This is one of Russell Crowe's best roles easily. Yeah, it's not Gladiator, or even I'm gonna say I love his Jarrell. I think his Jarrell is really good too. But it may not be those roles, but I thought he was great. Like it shows Crowe's versatility. Because I know he did a horror movie too. I forgot what it's called, but he did like a horror movie where he like some girl crossed him and he basically just started stalking her, trying to kill her. So that's the premise I heard of the movie. But I don't know. I've heard he was good in that too. So it really shows Russell Crowe can do variety. Like he could be a badass gladiator. He could be a father who's trying to save his son in Man of Steel. And then in this, he plays a funny enforcer character. His comedic timing is perfect in this movie. I get like between him and March. Like I would say March is like the snark, and Healy's a little bit snarky too. But I would say Healy has almost like a little bit more of the straight, I guess, kind of straight man role. But so Amelia after that breaks March's arm, and then he's still investigating. I love this scene. He's like in a fucking in a cast, and he's still trying to do his investigation. It's pretty funny. Like that's why I think Ryan Gosling these last few. And I know he's done a lot more like serious roles. I liked him in Blade Runner. I don't mind him playing serious, but I think he's much better. Like, but not fucking uber goofy like he was in Barbie. I know a lot of people like him as Ken. I didn't. I thought he was. I mean, he's the best thing in that movie, I guess, because the movie itself was trash. But it doesn't mean he was good. I felt like he was too over. He was too over the top in that movie. It wasn't even. It was fun, kind of funny at first, but I guess when I mean kind of funny, it was just because Ryan Gosling played it well. It kind of got old after a while. Whereas I feel like him and genuinely funny Ryan Gosling is him in this movie, and then like Fall Guy and the Fall Guy. Like that is to me. I want Ryan Gosling to do more movies like that because I think he's fucking awesome in this movie. Like his comedic both there. But I thought even just the scenes when he's by himself, his comedic timing is perfect. We find out he has a daughter, Holly, who he kind of raises as like it seems like he's like a kind of like a single dad. Is what it seems like. Um, Healy returns home. This is where we see we see Blueface and older guy, which I just love. That's Keith David's name. This movie. I think it's a code name, but I just love that's his name. Keith David was great in this, and it's crazy because he's been off, a little bit older by this point because it's 2016 when this came out. He's still because him and a little bit later in the film, but him and Healy have a pretty decent fight, like towards like the end, like at the party. Like it's kind of he had a pretty good fight scene for him being obviously a little bit older. He still pulled off, and I thought he was funny in this. And then even Blueface, because he gets a dye pack set off in his face, because they're trying to look for some money because they're looking for Amelia. And then this is where Healy manages to scare him off because he finds a gun. He manages to distract them, and he gets a shotgun, scares them off. And then this is where he has no choice but to go to March for help, to look for Amelia. And then this is where we get the really funny scene at the anti-pollution rally. This scene was hilarious because he's trying to talk to these protesters, but they're all trying to say, we're dead and we don't talk to the man. It's like perfect. Like, because I don't know if that was the intention, but it literally was mocking. Like, especially how you see a lot of these protesters today. It's like perfect. And it's just a very funny scene. So they end up, March offers $20 to whoever, finds Amelia. This is where they bring him to the burnt down house of Amelia's boyfriend, Dean. And it turns out, they find out that Dean and Amelia are working with Misty on an experimental film. And this is where they find out that they infiltrate a party because they're looking for the film's financier, Sid Shattuck. I'm trying to remember who played him. Oh, no. Yeah. No, he's not in the movie. Apparently he's uncredited, but it says he's listed as Robert Downey Jr., which is great. I would have loved to actually have seen him in the movie, but I kind of makes sense why he wouldn't be, because this would have been around when he was doing Civil War, Civil Play Fight. So... But Marge's daughter, Holly, actually sneaks into the party, and we get some funny scenes of them at the party, like each just kind of reacting to what's going on at the party. Healy investigates the party and finds out that the film is missing. While this happens, Amelia is actually at the party and actually runs into Holly, who gets chased by Blueface, but he ends up getting hit. Ends up getting hit in a hit and run. And then this is where Marge... Oh, actually, while this is going on, we get a fight between older guy and and Healy, which was a pretty fun fight. Like, it was like it went everywhere. Like, so the group reconvenes. Healy actually kills Blueface after Holly walks away. And then this is where they meet Amelia's mother. So we get a pretty funny scene of when they go to the hotel room, Healy and March, and they go up there and they just find a bunch of dead bodies and people just dying. They hear a gunshot, and then, like, because they're about to get out of the elevator, and they just hear a gunshot, and they just close the elevator while they go down. They just see someone get thrown out a window. It was a funny, like, this movie, like, I miss movies like this, and it sucks that it didn't do better. I think maybe if they released it at a different time that year, maybe it would have did better. Not right after a big Marvel movie, because that's what happened. It was like a week after that big Marvel movie. Everyone's going to see that the second week. that's what, unfortunately what happened. And this was also at the time when the only movies that really did well were only superhero shit. I'm happy now we're past that. I'm actually might do a separate video on this, like celebrating that. Like I'm happy superhero movies are dead. You know, just like a little sidebar, really quick before I get back to the movie. I'm just happy because it's nice to see. Don't get me wrong, guys. I love my superheroes, but for one, obviously, we talk about how much they fucked up these characters in both Marvel and DC. They're not even really adapting the characters. I mean, I've done a whole video explaining why I'm done with them is because of that. They don't even adapt the characters anymore. But we talk about that. But it's just nice to also just see movies that are not superhero movies do well. Like one of the biggest movies last year was a fucking historical biopic at Oppenheimer, and a Godzilla movie made money. Like a Toho Godzilla movie, not the American ones. Like just the Toho ones, because the American ones they might as well the new Godzilla X Kong might as well just be a superhero film. It basically is one. I don't care. It doesn't even feel like classic Godzilla, but just a classic Godzilla movie like -1 did well. You know, where a fucking action movie like The Beekeeper did decently this year. It's nice to just see stuff that's not superheroes do well. It's just unfortunately going back to this movie. It just came out at a time when it was at the height of the MCU. DC were doing their superhero movies at the time. That was all that was in the market, and unfortunately, that's the only thing that kind of people flocked to at the time. There are exceptions, but largely this was it. I just think this movie just kind of suffered for it because it is a great film. Like the comedy, the chemistry. This would be a movie that I think if it came out in the mid-2000s would do better. Or actually, I think if it came out now, I think it'd do better. I genuinely believe that. I think if it came out now, especially now we're in the post, there's only the only superhero movies that might do well are only like sure things. Like Superman has a chance to do well depending on if it's great. It has to be great. Like same thing with Deadpool 3, and that's because that's Hugh Jackman. It's only sure things now. It's not like at that point where this was out at the time where like any lame duck superhero MCU could just do some random movie and it hits $1 billion. So we're not at that point anymore. So I think today this movie could potentially do well. So anyway, back to the movie. I love this scene, and this is where they found Amelia. This is where the family doctor arrived. Turns out it isn't a doctor; it's an actual killer. John Boy, he's one of the assassins. I actually liked him as one of the. To me, he was like the main. He's not the main bad guy, but I thought he was good. I thought he was entertaining. That fucking action scene, like the scene where he just yeets Holly's friend through the window. It's like, holy shit, I give a fuck. That was a kid. And we have a big shootout with March and Healy against John Boy, but John Boy basically manages to escape. And while he happens, Amelia flees because I think because she sees John's car, probably thinking it's like somebody. Oh, can I get her? Because this is back in the 70s. People hitchhiked, so it was a common thing at the time. So it wasn't uncommon for a girl to be like, "Yo, can I get in your car and take me somewhere?" And yeah, it turns out he let her in just to shoot her, and basically she dies. They release March and Healy. So they try to get into the show. We get pretty. Oh, I got the fight wrong. The fight wasn't at this party. It was at the other party in the end of the film. Sorry, I got the order wrong. But it was a fun fight, so nonetheless. And older guy falls to his death because March tries to grab his daughter, and he ends up doing it, but he ends up falling too, which he ends up falling in the pool, and older guy like just basically splats. I think Chet dies. Yeah, but before that, but they implicated that it was Judith who was the one who did it. So Holly stops Sally from securing the film. Healy takes out John Boy, and they secure the film. Judith's arrested, and and basically we get a Nice Guys. They're at a bar. We get a Nice Guys advertisement. So yeah, awesome movie, man. I really wish this movie did better. I really do, because I think it is a really soundtrack, good characters. It's like, even though they're not cops, it's a good buddy film. Like, if you want to say buddy cop, but like buddy kind of film. You know, I think Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe had great chemistry. I would have loved a sequel to this. Obviously, it didn't do well, and that's why I never did get a sequel. Clearly, they wanted one because of the way it ended. But unfortunately, it didn't do well. So, but yeah, this is a perfect film. The fact that Keith David, even though he was older by the time this came out, still had a great fight scene with Healy in the end was awesome. And it was just a all around just fun movie. It was also immersive, like you felt like you were in 1977. Well, I think they did a good job of that. Even at the party, like they play like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like it really felt like you were in the 70s. Like, yeah, I think it was a great film. So all I could really say. Say it again. I wish it did better. Just the timing it came out, and yeah, just fortunately it suffered. But anyways, I'm gonna watch Rise of the Planet of the Apes tonight. I'm gonna try to. I want to review it tonight, but if I don't, it will be in the morning tomorrow, and then either tomorrow or Sunday, I'm gonna find me a screenwriting article, and I want to do a screenwriter's game because I haven't done one in like almost 3 months, so I want to do at least one. It's just like there hasn't been any. That's why it's kind of stopped looking. But I'm gonna try to look. It's been a little bit of time since I've looked now, so hopefully there'll be something I can talk about. So I'll look for one and try to talk about maybe either if not tomorrow, Sunday. But definitely, if we don't talk about Rise of the Planet of the Apes tonight, I'll definitely be talking about that tomorrow. So, but anyways, guys. Other than that, I don't. I'll probably have a finalized schedule what I'm going to be doing this upcoming week by probably tomorrow or Sunday. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna call it here. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all later. Either later or I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.